Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Content to Play Villain. In this episode, I'll be discussing the fictional character, King Bradley, a psychotic and brutal character from the anime Fullmetal Alchemist. This episode will be broken down into 4 parts. Firstly, who King Bradley is. 2. The evil things that he did. 3. Why he did those things. And 4. My opinion if the evil things he did were justified. I hope you enjoy this episode and make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get started. King Bradley is a major character in the anime series Fullmetal Alchemist. He's a tall, muscular, imposing figure who leads Amestris' state military and is the leader of Amestris. He has a full head of black hair, with a few graying hairs and a thick black mustache, a blue tint to his right eye, and an eye patch over his left eye. Underneath his eye patch is the ultimate eye, with the Ouroboros mark in place of the pupil and cornea. King Bradley is usually seen to wear a blue, full-length military issue coat and slacks with black dress shoes. His uniform has a gray sash around it which he uses to carry his swords. Bradley is almost always seen with at least one sword on him, but has also been known to carry up to 5 and can wield all of them simultaneously. On occasions, he has been seen without his coat in battle, wearing his military issue slacks with suspenders and boots, along with a short-sleeve black undershirt. At first glance, King Bradley appears as a cheerful and easygoing man who frequently escapes responsibilities to have some free time, offers people melons and watermelons, or dresses as a tourist when he goes to a countryside town, while at the same time ruling his country with an iron fist and sometimes adopting a hands-on approach while dealing with threats. He's a formidable fighter and a proficient swordsman. Bradley augments his deadly swordsmanship with the ultimate eye, a clairvoyant eye that bears the Ouroboros seal, which is usually covered by an eye patch. The eye enables him to predict his opponent's next move to counter, along with seeing things the normal human eye cannot, like air currents. Although Bradley initially appeared to be an ordinary man, we find out his true name and identity is Wrath, one of the homunculi and devoted to Father's cause. In truth, Wrath is distant, reserved, cruel, and merciless, and his actions throughout the series show this. The actions that follow prove damaging as he commits several suspicious acts that confirm he could be an outrageous villain. One of these acts is that he initiated many brutal conflicts with neighboring countries to create blood crests in various places for Father's plan. One of those conflicts was the Ishval Civil War, where Wrath mobilized state alchemists who brutally massacred mass citizens, annihilating almost an entire race. This event was traumatizing not only for the Ishvalan refugees, but even for the Amestrian soldiers. In addition, during the extermination, many civilians were used in illegal and unethical experiments with the creation of Philosopher's Stone. Exterminating a mass number of people is up there with the severest forms of crimes against humanity. Another one of King Bradley's villainous acts is that he worked for Father. The character Father in Fullmetal Alchemist is an evil figure who planned to sacrifice the population of Amestris to pry open the gate of truth and become the new god. King Bradley was aware of this plan and continued to support and help Father. It's also important to note that Bradley was born for the specific purpose of becoming Father's Wrath and was developed into a potential leader of Amestris. When Bradley was a young man, Father injected him with a Philosopher's Stone created from wrathful souls, making him the first of only 2 human-based homunculi. King Bradley is working with the homunculi to make Father the ultimate being, knowing that people would have to be killed for that to happen. Furthermore, in the series, there is a scene where Bradley mocks God. Hear how this came about. During the Ishvalan War, he refused the Grand Cleric's offer of surrendering himself in exchange for the lives of all the remaining Ishvalans, then mocks the Ishvalans when they state Wrath would suffer the hammer of God by saying God was merely a construct to create fear and promote order. Bradley says specifically, "Just how many thousands of lives must I take down before he strikes me down?" And goes on to say, God is nothing more than a social construct created by man made to inspire fear and promote order. It appears due to his atheism he has no guilt in the crimes he commits. His hate of religion could potentially be why he is a hateful and brutal cynic. King Bradley spent his life fighting humans and carrying dislike for them and their religious beliefs, and is later killed by Scar, a religious monk turned serial killer and a victim of Wrath's extermination of Ishval. There are several other evil acts he has done, such as telling Roy Mustang that if he takes an inappropriate action against the Central Command, he will endanger Riza Hawkeye, as well as blackmailing the Elric brothers, telling them if they leave the military, he will kill their close friend, Winry Rockbell. Now, why was King Bradley content to play villain? In other words, why did King Bradley perform his acts of evil? One can argue that Bradley was doing the absolute bidding of Father, which meant people had to die in order for Father to achieve his goals. Father played a key part in King Bradley's life as he was a nameless orphan with no relative, raised among other abandoned children for the sole purpose of becoming a Mestress puppet king. They were all taught politics, military strategy, and swordplay. When they came of age, they were infused with a philosopher's stone so that a Mestress future ruler would be part of the 7 homunculi. The young man who would become Wrath, also known as King Bradley, was the 12th candidate and the only one who survived the process. The new homunculus was named King Bradley and enrolled in the army, rising in ranks to become dictator of a Mestress according to Father's designs. He mentions the following: "Everything from my name to my position was given to me by my superiors. My wife, however, was of my own choosing." This is Wrath telling Hawkeye that his marriage is the only real part of his life. It appears that he's had not control over anything in his life, therefore the ruthlessness, murderous nature of him is what he was taught by Father. He is fond of his wife, as his marriage is the only element in his life that he could decide himself, and she is the only human that he truly cares about. Were King Bradley's acts justified? Bradley had the misfortune of being raised and molded by Father for one particular thing in life: to become the dictator of Amatrus. Father taught him everything he knew, and this affected his evil acts. The question is, could Bradley have turned out a different person were he not an orphan raised by Father? Should this exclude him from being labeled a villain? That is for the viewer to assess and decide.